Hello boxing fans and welcome back to Andy's Cavern. I told you I'd be back later. Didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you? Well, I haven't seen a lot of boxing tonight, but I did see Dalton Smith taking on Frenchman Walid Ouizza for the EBU Super Lightweight Championship. Dalton Smith certainly didn't waste any time. He ended it at the end of the first round actually, so Ouizza didn't really get going. Dalton Smith didn't let him. Very impressed with Dalton Smith tonight. Fast, poised, powerful. He looks like the real deal. He looked like what you might call a complete fighter tonight. He was fast, accurate. I don't know if Ouizza was just trying to bide his time a bit. Dalton Smith wasn't there for messing about. He didn't sign up for working any overtime tonight. So he did the business. So where does he go next? We're talking about Regis Prograis. But certainly I think he's done everything. He's done it the traditional route, hasn't he? I think he's won English. He's maybe, I don't know if he's won area, probably area, English, British, now EBU. I think he's got a trinket belt as well. So he's wanting to get up there with the big boys in the mix at world level. So definitely impressed with him tonight. I can't see how anybody would fail to be impressed with him. How good was Ouizza? Difficult to tell you, but you can only beat who's put in front of you. I think he had a decent enough record, 19 wins and 2 defeats. So you can only beat who's put in front of you. So that's all I've seen. There was I think there was other fights on that card, obviously, but I hadn't had time to watch them. I was too busy eating my haggis, neeps and tatties and trying out the Buckfast on Burns night. What else is going on? I saw the Parker versus Dubois face to face the other day. Certainly Parker looks like he's got fire in his belly. He definitely looks up for it. He had Andy Lee as mastermind trainer next to him, and Dynamite Dubois, the artist formerly known as Triple Knee, had Bricktop. Frank Warren, Hall of Fame promoter, Frank Warren, aka Bricktop, he had him by his side. So made for an interesting face to face. If you haven't seen it, it's worth a wee look. But Parker, there's a confidence about Parker. I think I'll do a proper prediction leading up to it, but don't write Parker off. He's got initially when this fight was announced, I thought Dubois will run through him, but the more I think about it, the more I think Parker's and Andy Lee can his boxing mastermind could have a good game plan to beat Dubois. And Parker's no phased by going in with big punchers, is he? He wasn't the least bit phased going in against Wilder. He put a pound on him, beating on Wilder. And Zhang, I mean, does Dubois hit much harder than Zhang? Zhang's a big puncher, eh? He dropped Parker twice. Parker got up and did the business on points, didn't he? So there's nothing to say. There's nothing to say that suggests to me that Dubois, it's a foregone conclusion that Dubois is just going to wipe him out. He very well might wipe him out, but I don't know, it's a more intriguing fight than I think it'll be more competitive than the Joshua Dubois fight anyway. I think Parker's got more left than Joshua, and there's people talked about a rematch between that two, but yeah, if you look back at the first fight between Parker and Joshua, the Parker was up against it with the ref, because anytime we got in close, the ref. Just separated it, kept separating them. So he couldn't get to do any work in close, Parker. Parker's a much better fighter now. He's got a lot more experience. And one thing in life you can't buy is experience, isn't it? So it's an intriguing fight. And to be honest with you, if the winner's going to fight Usyk, I'd rather see... You might find Usyk's only going to have another couple of fights. I think, and I've said this before, that Parker versus Usyk's a more interesting fight. I don't think he'll beat Usyk, but it's certainly a more intriguing fight for me, as a fan, to watch. Because we've seen Dubois Usyk already, don't we? Or Usyk Dubois. So, why does Usyk have to beat everybody twice before he convinces everybody that it's a nonsense? Usyk is the man at the moment. He's the man to beat. So I'd like to see Parker Usyk or Usyk Parker. Preference, that's my preference. You might have a different preference. Maybe you want to see Usyk fight Dubois again, but personally for me, I mean, all this controversy over the last fight, it was a low blow. The ref deemed it to be a low blow. We've gone over this over and over again. We could go over it for a month of some days and folk will still not agree, but as I always say, I'm quite happy to agree to disagree on anything, so it doesn't bother me what other people think about that. It was deemed a low blow. The ref told Usyk to stay down. If it wasn't deemed a low blow by the ref, I'm pretty sure Usyk would have got up and made a go at it, but what other part of the fight did Dubois win in that, you know? And I think at the end of the day, some people say Dubois quit. Some people say Usyk knocked him out with a jab. But I think Usyk just bamboozled him through that fight. And maybe that's why he was resorting to low blows. Maybe he was frustrated that he couldn't really do much with Usyk. But he did give it a go, give Dubois his props. He did give it a go. But at the end of the day, he was totally outboxed, outthought, outfought. So that was that. So personally, I'd rather see Usyk Parker than Usyk Dubois. But that's not to say I want Parker to win, or want Dubois to win, or Dubois to lose, or Parker to lose. As long as we get a good fair fight with a good result, with no controversy, that's all we can hope for. So, what else have we seen? Naoya Inoue fighting Jae-Jun Kim, who was a replacement. I think Inoue was meant to fight, I think it was Christmas Eve, against Sam Goodman. But that got, he pulled out a cut eye or something like that. It hadn't healed right. So Inoue, probably one of the best, probably in the top 3 or 4 pound for pound fighters in the world. Another spectacular knockout from Inoue. I think it was the 4th round. I couldn't believe Kim was waving him in, kept waving Inoue in. I thought, is he mad? Why would anybody wave Inoue in? Morning. Madness. He's a crazy puncher, and he punches from all different angles, and even his jab's a ramrod punch. What a fighter, Inoue. No wonder he's nicknamed the Monster, eh? Monster. You didn't wave him on, do you? So I know you done the business again. That's super bantamweight. So I think he's undisputed at that, or more or less. So who's he going to fight next? It'll be intriguing to see. I heard Eddie Hills saying he was ducking somebody, but I don't know if I believe that. I know he was ducking somebody. Or maybe he's quite happy fighting in Japan. But he's a champion. You want to take his belt, you got to go to Japan and take his belt. That's been the way with some other fight. I mean, Usyk's won all his titles on the road, hasn't he? I think Froch did as well. The Cobra. He was a roadman back in the day, wasn't he? But I like to see Anthony Joshua and that just wanted to stay at home, didn't he? Joe Calzaghe was a bit like that to the end of his career. He always fought in Britain, didn't he? I think he had one fight in Europe somewhere. Was it Denmark? I can't remember now, Denmark or Germany or somebody. He did fight somebody abroad, but predominantly he fought at home. But maybe Inouye's happy fighting at home, so you want his belts, go and get them. Get yourself to Japan. I think way back in the day, I might be wrong on this, you can correct me in the comment section. I think when Jack Johnson, the first black heavyweight champion, he had to track Tommy Burns, who was the heavyweight champion at the time. I think he had to fight him in Australia or somewhere. I'd have to check up on that, but he chased him all around the world, I think, trying to get a title shot, which he won. Yeah, so I think that's about it tonight. Top 5 pound for pound. I've still got Usyk at number 1. Crawford, he's not a fight for a while, Crawford, but he is up there. I mean, you've got Crawford. There's talk about him fighting Canelo. Don't write Crawford off on that. I mean, we know Canelo's fought at light heavyweight, but he's not like a career light heavyweight. He's not like Bivol or Beterbiev or that. So he's come up from lighter weights, and I think Crawford's maybe actually slightly taller than him. I might be wrong on that. I think Canelo's like 5'8", Crawford's maybe 5'9", but Crawford's come up through the weights as he's aged, and he's super skillful, Crawford. So some people are going, oh, that fight shouldn't be happening, it's weights for a reason and that. Now I agree there's weights for a reason, but there's individual instances where, like the guy he's fighting who's fought at higher weights, he started off at lower weights, so he's come up, and who he fought at light heavyweight, I think it was Kovalev. He was kind of a shadow of Kovalev, what the Kovalev it used to be. So he's picked his fights and picked his moments, hasn't he? Whereas he came unstuck against Bivol, so hence he went back down. I think it's super middleweight, so probably about 168 that fight. I'd maybe rather see it at 160, but maybe Canelo might struggle to make that now. So, but that's certainly an interesting fight. I think they're talking September the 13th for that. So that's one to look forward to, isn't it? We've got the big card on February 22nd to look forward to, and there's a few other bits and pieces coming up. But I think that's all for tonight, guys. Hope you're all well out there. Enjoying Burns night. Hope you've all had your haggis, neeps and tatties, and a wee dram of whiskey if that's your tipple, or iron brew if it's no, or whatever floats your boat. Yep, so that's it for Burns night in Andy's Cavern. And don't forget, Boxers in Need. Maybe some of you have looked it up already. If not, it'll only take you 5 minutes to www.boxersinneed.com. And if you can, it's a good charity to give to if you're a boxing fan, to help people in grassroots and boxers that's fallen on hard times, because as I always say, once they're off the screens, out of sight, out of mind, and they can be riding on the crest of a wave in boxing, winning titles or in great fights and whatnot. Not all boxers make a lot of money, and once their career's over, they're not always in the best physical or mental state, are they? So some boxers struggle to adapt after a career in boxing. So these guys sometimes go off the rails and fall on hard times. So that's what Boxers needs there to help people in that situation. So feel free to look it up. It's just £12 a year, £1 a month. That's what it works out over the year, obviously. There's still 12 months in a year, you know. Yeah. So if you can help, please donate, and if you can't, share it with somebody that might be able to, or any of your friends that like boxing. So there we go. Okay, guys, that's all for tonight, and till the next time, we'll try and get more content out this. I've had a busy week this week, so I've not had time to do much at all. So there we go, and I hope you've all survived that big storm unscathed, because it was below Naoya here. It was wild. So that's all for tonight. Take care, and remember, be happy and be healthy, and till the next time, all the best. Cheers.